Christine Murphy is a writer who lives in Portland whose new book is called Notes on Surviving the Fire.
It caught our eye in part because of her personal story, which you'll hear more about in a moment. When Christine Murphy came in to talk with us, she noted that it was her first TV interview. Not surprising, since this is her debut novel.
It is my first published novel. It's not my first written one. And aspiring writers often ask people who've gotten to this point for advice. And it is about butt in chair, hands on keyboard.
First published novel. How many have you written that have not been published?
It depends on how you define a novel and how you define finished. But I would say this is probably 3 or 4, the third or fourth one, depending on how we define a book. One book I wrote to the end, and I just thought, this is terrible. I'm not going to edit this. Away with you. So I don't know if that counts. But technically it was written, but bad.
Did this book come fairly easily to you, or was it a slog?
So I had one of the previous books I had written, I queried an agent, and the agent wrote back to me and said, "You are a beautiful writer, but you don't know how to tell a story." And I was like, you son of a bitch. And so I thought about, okay, I'm going to learn how to tell the best story I can. It's going to be pacey. You're going to read it in one night, pages turning. So to learn how to really create a pacey narrative it felt like going to the gym. It felt like training for a marathon, and I hate the gym. So it depends on how. I love the story. I love being in it, but it was agonizing, killing my darlings, they say in writing. Learning how to just like, no, that doesn't serve the story, get rid of it.
Notes on Surviving the Fire goes into some dark places. The story includes murder, revenge, and sexual assault.
This sounds like a formidable challenge. Writing about sexual violence in a way where readers will keep turning the pages and injecting a lot of humor in there, which you have done. That's a tough balancing act.
I have a very South Park type of humor. I love subversive humor, but it's tricky. One of my big challenges was, can I make an old school page-turning thriller? One of my thoughts in my head, like I love 80s action movies, like Rambo, Die Hard, Aliens. Those are my comfort films. When I'm stressed, I will put on Rambo and just chill out like a loser. And I thought, can I bring that like underdog, nothing, no CGI, no superheroes, just like that grit and determination that for me is so much fun, makes a great hero, to a story that is contemporary, that features a woman. I mean, I love Rambo, he's amazing, but like he's a dude. And do it and make it funny. Like, I love Rambo. Rambo's not that funny, and I have often thought that movie would be better if it were funnier.
Unintentionally funny.
I mean, no, yes. Well, see, maybe that's why I love it so much, because now it's hysterical, but, you know, it didn't mean to be.
You're a movie fan. Would you like to see Notes on Surviving the Fire made into a movie?
Sure, great. I don't know nothing about making movies, and I have heard that authors are very upset with the movies that are made from their books. However, I will take the money.
This is a work of fiction. When one reads your biography, the inescapable conclusion is you need to write a memoir because you have led a most unusual life. How many different countries have you visited, Christine?
Well, what's fun, it depends on what's happening politically, because when you get to over 100 countries, sometimes the countries you've been to divide and come back together. So it's about 110.
What was it that led you to travel the globe and go to so many different places?
Yeah, I'm just kind of a little weirdo. Like, I wanted to. I do not come from an international family. I'm not like the daughter of diplomats or anything like that. And from a very young age, I just wanted to be out in the world. I didn't care how I made it happen. I didn't care what I wanted to do. Some people grow up, they want to be doctors or lawyers, or I wanted to go everywhere and see everything.
As part of your travels, you spent nearly a year living in a tent around the continent of Africa?
Yeah, backpacking for a year with a tent.
What was that experience like?
It was extraordinary. It was challenging. The juxtaposition of great poverty with great wealth is, for me, more upsetting than being in a place where it's, I suppose, equitable. It's just different when you see you're literally walking over homeless people to get to, like, pass a Louis Vuitton store.
You also lived for about a year in the Himalayas in a Buddhist nunnery.
That was also lovely. I think that's another thing where people picture me like sitting on a pillow for a year in the Himalayas. And there was some of that, but I became very close friends with the abbess, and we did a lot of practical things. Nunneries and monasteries are institutions, so I dug a lot of ditches. I had to clog some toilets sometimes. And it was a two-person job, I'm not gonna lie. We unclogged that toilet where there was some wonderful spiritual thing happening down the road, and we were elbows deep in it. It was disgusting.
The spiritual is important, but sometimes the practical has to take precedence.
Someone's gotta unclog the toilets, guys. They don't unclog themselves, trust me.
You know, it's interesting to think, how many people have you ever met in your life who visited more than 100 countries?
Oh my goodness. And two, that is incredible. Like, that is so much travel. I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
And to the book itself, as you mentioned, tough topics to tackle, but how many authors have you interviewed who describe themselves as a little weirdo with a South Park sense of humor?
Right. And I love her term for how she wants to keep the story moving. Pacey. That's what she wanted with that book. Christine Murphy is going to be talking about her novel, Notes on Surviving the Fire. That will be at an event at Left Bank Books in Belfast.
And that event starts at 6:30 p.m. on Friday, April 4th.